As the drivers get ready for round number 2 in Pro Comp Eliminator, let's go down to trackside and Steve Evans.
Dave, it's interesting to note going into round 2 of Pro Comp that no particular type of car seems to have an advantage. We have 3 dragsters left, 4 funny cars, and the 1 AA altered remains in competition. Now that our number 1 qualifier was eliminated on the whole shot, that being Tom Ridings of California, the crowd seems to be going with the unusual AA altered of Ron Boggs, and he's the quickest car in the field now going into round 2.
And this is the AA altered of Ron Boggs from Columbus, Ohio. A Model T roadster body, highly modified, a Donovan engine, supercharged, running methanol for fuel, making up this handful known as a AA altered in Pro Comp Eliminator here at the Spring Nationals. Boggs' competition comes from London, Ontario, Canada, the Double B funny car of Frank Hawley and the Hawley family. Here in slow motion, we can watch Ron Boggs as he has to drive this car to keep it straight as the rear tires are spinning, getting them hot, getting ready for his pass down the quarter mile. The funny car of Frank Hawley, powered by a 500 cubic inch engine, also supercharged, also burning methanol. Keith Black racing engine in the funny car. A tremendous race. Hawley drifting close to the center. And at the finish line by inches, it's Ron Boggs in the altered, moving one more step closer to this championship here at the Spring Nationals. Boggs is elapsed time 6:88, and here you see in slow motion stop action, it is literally a matter of inches as electronically the winner picker says Ron Boggs there first. The next pair, funny car versus dragster, Dale Armstrong against Dick Titsworth, and a red light for Armstrong. Titsworth, the funny car, moves ahead in eliminations, 6.84 seconds, 202 miles an hour, and a dejected Dale Armstrong through for the day in competition in Pro Comp Eliminator. The old bugaboo of a red light left at the starting line. This is Dale Hall, the only front-engine dragster left in Pro Comp Eliminator, powered by a small block Chevrolet, also supercharged and running on alcohol. The competition, the rear-engine dragster of Butch Osmond. Hall there first, 6.88 seconds, his speed over 201 miles an hour, with a little Chevrolet engine in that front-engine dragster. A pair of Corvettes. Don Gerardo, former world champion from Monroeville, Indiana. Simon Menzies, hailing out of Torrance, California. The Corvette owned by Jim Jackson. Both cars leaving the line together. And something going wrong with Gerardo's car as Menzies takes the win, 6.93 seconds. His speed over 196 miles an hour. A champion in any sport, professional football, baseball, drag racing, he's a champion only as long as he outperforms his fellow competitors. One of drag racing's greatest champions, Gary Beck, two-time national champ, former world champion, has had his share of problems for what seems to be an eternity. Steve asked Gary, why the slump?
Well, in the constant quest to go quicker, you try and experiment using different engine, clutch, tire, gear ratio ideas, and in the meantime, while you're planning on going faster than 5.6, you forget how to go 5.6. So you got to kind of start all over. You got to go back to school again, and you got to teach yourself how to race again and cut back. It's the trouble we've had in the last few months is I can't put it on one thing. It's been numerous things, but it appears that it's slowly working its way back out.
People always ask, why doesn't he just go back to the same combination that, say, won this race in 74, ran 5 seconds, 2:47? Why don't you?
Well, it's awful hard to do that. From 74 to now, the tires are completely different. The tracks are better. We have concrete starting line this time. This is my third car from there. This car has better traction built into it. So we have to automatically build more horsepower. That's not that easy to do.
Gary, all of your many fans, especially, of course, the Canadians, and myself for that matter, after this race, we want to read somewhere, Beck is back. Is there a good chance of that?
Well, certainly, this car's always been a team effort, and everybody tries real hard. Our sponsors, the crew people, And, you know, so you keep working on it. You don't get discouraged. You keep plugging at the weak spots, and sooner or later it wins. We won a race a few weeks ago. We won a few rounds. Now we're planning on coming back, that's for sure.
Did a tremendous job at driving. The car looked like it wanted to get away from you.
Well, it was all right. It was shaking a little bit, but it was going to be okay. You know, it was carried the wheels. It left extremely hard in the gate, and I could feel the engine just miss a beat just as the lights was coming, and kaboom! It was a pretty loud explosion.
Is this going to finish your weekend, you think?
No, we got one more bullet down in there. We'll bring her out.
Sacrifice another lamb.
No, we got another good engine. The engine has been run for a long time. It's actually the engine we were qualified with at the Cajun Nationals, and so it'll be all right.
While Beck qualified on that run that produced the incredible engine explosion, the new engine he put in for first round of elimination did not perform up to standard. Paul Longnecker defeating Gary Beck in the first round. Another tough racing day for Gary Beck. In the finals of Pro Stock Eliminator, 50-year-old Dino Don Nicholson wheels the Ford Mustang II. His competition from Totowa, New Jersey, Frank Iaconio, the classic Ford versus Chevrolet battle, the Monza of Iaconio, the Mustang of Nicholson. Dino Don Nicholson in a close race, 8.78 seconds, 153 miles an hour. Funny car, defending champion, Don the Snake Prudhomme from Granada Hills, matched against a fellow Granada Hills resident, Bob Pickett, driving Mickey Thompson's Oldsmobile Starfire. The 77 Plymouth Arrow of Don Prudhomme. A close race in the middle of the course. Pickett pulls it out in one of the biggest upsets of the day. Bob Pickett winning Funny Car Eliminator, 6.22 seconds, 231 miles an hour. The lady versus the Englishman, Clive Skilton, London, England's own, now living in Balboa, California. From Mount Clemens, Michigan, the defending champion, Shirley Muldowney. Muldowney and Skilton side by side in the middle of the course. Muldowney by less than a car length, winning her second straight Spring Nationals title. Shirley Muldowney, top fuel champion at the Spring Nationals.
In the drag racing is the most innovative of all motorsports. The Best Engineered Award presented at these NHRA national events is really a treasured thing for the racers. There's over 600 cars in this incredibly huge pit area. The choice is a most difficult one. Any category of car is eligible, certainly, for the Best Engineered Award. It's based more on caliber of craftsmanship and innovation, as we discussed. The people at Fram have selected for the Best Engineered Award at this 13th Annual Spring Nationals the 77 Plymouth Arrow of Butch Leal, the California Flash, as he calls himself, from Northridge, California.
We've seen the upsets in Pro Comp Eliminator. Here we are at the semifinals, and we have Dale Hall, the man with the small block Chevrolet front engine dragster, matched up against the funny car of Dick Titsworth. On the other side of the bracket, Simon Menzies driving Jim Jackson's funny car against the altered of Ron Boggs. Pro Comp Racing designed to allow different types of cars and engine combinations to compete heads up against one another, and it's depicted no better than it has been here at the Spring Nationals. 39-year-old Dick Titsworth, a machinist by trade during the week, drag racer on the weekend, against Dale Hall, Hall driving the front engine Chevy dragster. A great race at the finish as Dale Hall pulls it out in the last few feet. The crew heading down to get the car, head back to the pits, get it ready for the finals. Dale Hall from Granby, Connecticut, making it into the finals in Pro Comp Eliminator. You see right here he begins to deviate from the straight and true path down the quarter mile, but gets it back under control and pulls the win out in just the last few feet. The crowd favorite in the far lane has got to be that 1923 Model T Roadster bodied altered car. Ron Boggs driving it. His competition is Jim Jackson's Corvette. Simon Menzies, drifting close to the center line, has to back out of it. Ron Boggs on an easy single moves in to face Dale Hall in the finals, a fine 6.79 second, 200-mile-an-hour run. Ready now for semi-final action in Competition Eliminator, a battle of the altereds. The stretched wheelbase Dodge of Don Carlton against that six-cylinder roadster of Joe Williamson. In the other half of the bracket, it's a pair of Econorails, Jim Jones against Kenny Van Streeter. In Modified Eliminator, the crowd favorite, that little turbocharged Ford Pinto of Buddy Ingersoll, is up against the big Chevy Monza of Sam Giannino. Paul McCure driving that Chevy Corvette. He faces defending modified champ Wally Jacobson. 4 cars remaining in Modified Eliminator. Buddy Ingersoll, that's the Pinto with a turbocharged engine. Sam Giannino was to have given a big head start to Ingersoll, but could not wait, red lighting away his chance to move into the finals. So Buddy Ingersoll, having been plagued with breakage with this car for practically an entire year, takes the win and moves into the finals. His competitor will come from this matchup. Defending champion Wally Jacobson in the Chevy Vega on the near side. Paul McCure driving David Searle's Corvette. Fayetteville, North Carolina, in the far lane of the racetrack. McCure out first. Wally Jacobson will have to catch up if he can. And he does not, as Paul McCure, 10.26 seconds elapsed time, his speed 132 miles an hour, moves into the finals to face the favorite, Buddy Ingersoll. In slow motion, you can see Wally Jacobson trying to make a move with the Chevy Vega, unable to do so as the head start of Paul McCure enough to carry him to the win. Don Carlton, another North Carolina entrant here at the Spring Nationals. The six-cylinder roadster, this is Joe Williamson, pipe fitter from Louisville, Kentucky. Williamson out first. Carlton once again in the catch-up role. And catch-up he does by about a car length. Don Carlton in Competition Eliminator, 8.45 seconds. His speed 157 miles an hour, putting that Dodge Colt into the finals. You can see right here as they enter into the speed traps, Carlton pulling away to the lead and the victory over Joe Williamson. A pair of Econorails, Kenny Van Streeter in the B category, Jim Jones with a C Econorail, meaning he will get just a slight head start over Van Streeter. Leaving the line on the green light, Jim Jones has got the big lead at mid-track. Van Streeter unable to catch him. Jim Jones from Indianapolis into the finals, 9.05 seconds. His speed, 146 miles an hour. That one 4-barrel carburetor with an automatic transmission. That's one of the restrictions in Econorail racing. Jim Jones with well over a car-length lead at the finish line. We'll be back with the finals here at the Spring Nationals in just a moment.